Hey Josh, how excited are you by the thought of returning to the team and playing here in Manchester?
Yeah, hugely excited. Obviously, sat the last game out, and I guess I feel better for it, and having a rest and getting a bit of strength back in, and getting ready for this game. So obviously, fond memories of last time here in 2019, and it's good to be back here and hopefully get a game.
We've spoken a bit about the schedule so far and the workload for the fast bowlers. How do you feel now after a break? And did you need that break coming into that with the short turnaround?
I felt pretty good, to be honest. I mean, we haven't bowled a lot of overs in terms of what Test matches usually look like for us, and I guess the way with England, the way they play, that sort of gets us in the field for a little bit less in terms of workload. So I felt pretty good going to the game. It was probably the right call now that I sort of sit back and look at the whole big picture, but at the time I was definitely desperate to play, which is quite obvious, but it makes sense.
Hey Josh, were you, I suppose, in terms of this series, were you kind of most happy that you kind of got through the first test without sort of unscathed, and that's given you confidence for the remainder of the series, given, I suppose, your recent history?
Yeah, definitely. I, again, felt pretty good. I was probably a little bit underdone for that the World Test Championship, and then got ready for the first game, and I didn't seem too rusty when I was out there in the middle, and once you sort of get that big day of workload underneath you, that's you feel a lot better for the runs. So I just sort of felt better and better as I was going along, and hopefully after that little break I'll come out firing again.
And just in terms of dealing with England's batting lineup, you obviously got Ben Duckett fairly early on the first morning of the series, but he and Zach Crawley have put together some quite handy partnerships over the series. Like, how do you view them in terms of the way they've played and how you approach them as a pair of openers?
Yeah, the top seven's quality, even top eight now with Wogsy there as well. They're a dangerous lineup from start to finish, and they all bat a little bit differently, and sort of we've probably learned it quite a bit in the first three games, and we'll catch up again as bowlers and sort of dissect that and how that looks, and the positives and negatives and how we can improve, and we sort of do that after every game, and we'll do that before this one. So we'll suss it out.
And just Moeen Ali is going to continue batting at three. Probably not someone you would have expected to be batting at three before the series.
No, definitely not. But I think he's batted everywhere from 1 to 9 or something like that. I think the stat was. So expect the unexpected with these guys a lot of the time, and just whoever walks out next, you just get ready and bowl them.
Yeah, sure. Josh, you could be very easily sitting here as the Australian team with the series already wrapped up, and that would have been a nice feeling, I know. But the fact that England did manage to get home at Headingley has kept the kind of excitement around the series alive. Can you, even from an Australian perspective, see the benefit of that a lot of people, maybe around the world, are still excited about the series because it's still alive?
Yeah, I can certainly see that aspect of it. I'd like 5-0, but I certainly see that point of view. It feels a lot like 2019, where the series was alive right until the end. So we've played in series in India where it's the same. As it goes along, it sort of just snowballs and gets bigger and bigger. So I can't see anything different for this week coming, and hopefully the rain stays away and we get a full game in. So again, excited for what lies ahead.
Josh, I know obviously you played one test in those back-to-back tests at the start with Test Championship into Edgbaston, one test of Lords into Headingley. So I guess the obvious question is, do you feel you can play both the last two tests of this series?
Yeah, I think that missing Headingley is probably the reason to set me up for the last two games. I know they're back-to-back, but again, we haven't bowled a lot of overs, and hopefully with that work behind me now, I'm in a better position now than I was a month ago. So that sort of puts me in a good place, hopefully, to get through those last two games and play my role and do what I usually do.
I'm going to just ask about England's batting. Like, do you feel like you guys have created some kind of change in the way that England approach the game with their batting? Like, you think about the first test, there were scoop shots a lot. I mean, a lot of fast scoring. Compare that to Headingley. I know that sort of from, say, the 7th wicket on, they've scored pretty quickly, but so the top 6 or 7, do you feel like you guys have slowed down the way they play and maybe made it a bit more conservative?
I think so, to a degree. Again, I think conditions-based probably dictates that as well. Edgbaston was obviously probably the flattest wicket, followed by Lords as well. So probably dictated the way they played, and then Headingley they probably had to rein in a little bit more. Again, it's situation of the game all the time when those type of players come in and play those shots. So it's a lot of contributing factors, I think. But I guess we can take a positive look at that and say that we might have changed a little bit the way they've played.
Steve Smith, Josh, having kind of watched him in that last test, I mean, did he kind of look a little bit unsettled in a big milestone test for him? And what are you kind of expecting of him here at Old Trafford?
Hopefully the same as last time. That'd be nice. Double 100. I think with Smithy, it's he's a hard one to sort of figure out and what to expect sometimes. He certainly likes the big stage. I'm not sure if the 100th test had anything to do with his performance at all. I don't think so. But again, the fourth test of a series on the line. You expect big things all the time, and often it eventuates. So I'll be thinking the same again.
Hi Josh, how much of a new challenge is it for you as an experienced bowler, how England have come out and batted and playing shots from the get-go, and how have you adapted to it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's been a great challenge. I guess after you play cricket for a long time, you not get sick of the same old stuff, but it's good to see a new challenge, and it's probably brought the best out in a few of our guys from the other side of it, in terms of our bowlers. So yeah, it was exciting from the get-go, and as was mentioned before, we've sort of maybe changed a little bit the way they've played, but I think if it's a good wicket, they're coming hard, and it's sort of a long one-day game, T20 aspect, and it's been exciting, and I feel like we've done a reasonable job of containing them from time to time.
Josh, just in terms of the composition of the attack, how important is a spinner in terms of just even managing the workload of the quicks through a test series, and what have you seen from Todd Murphy so far in his career that makes you think he'll be able to stand up for the rest of the series?
Yeah, I think Todd's had a great start to his test career, in particular in the subcontinent against probably the best players of spin in the world, being India, and he didn't get a great opportunity last test to show what he's really got. But in terms of if we're talking one day T20 aspect, his T20 numbers are great. He's got a good experience in that as well. So I think if he can sort of get that game plan together and formulate it, and get it right out there in the middle, then he can play a huge role. I know we're going to miss Gazza from time to time when we're out there in the field, but I think Todd, as his understudy, has done a great job so far, and expect the same again.
Josh, just going back to the game 4 years ago, I think you took 6 in the game. What worked for you in that game? And I know you probably haven't seen the pitch yet, but do you expect you'll be able to go a similar way this time? Yeah,
I think so. I had a quick look at the wicket yesterday. It always seems a bit greyer wicket here. It's a bit more compact and maybe a bit quicker as well. That's sort of the characteristics of it, you've been told, and what we see out there in the middle. So, again, it's about sticking to what we do well, the 6 to 8 metre length, a lot that we talk about, and it's probably a more consistent wicket. So probably, I guess, in terms of that, you've got to really zero in on that area. There's always a bit of seam movement, a bit of bounce, which I know all quicks like. So you feel in the game when there's a bit of carry. So the same old stuff, yeah.
Josh, all but one of your wickets in this series has been to left-handers. Is that just a coincidence, or is that something do you prefer bowling to lefties? Is it something you've been working on, anything like that?
No, I don't prefer bowling to lefties at all. I'd rather bowl to right-handers, sorry. Just a coincidence, I think, yeah. It's good to get a few lefties out. It makes you feel a bit more confident going up against them. But, I think it's just a coincidence, yeah.
Josh, a bit of ancient history, but going back to the Lord's Test, there were some photos around of when you got Ben Stokes' wicket. Your celebration was similar to some that we've seen in the past. Was there anything conscious about the celebration there, or was it just a little bit of spontaneity from you?
No, nothing at all. After I did it, I probably thought maybe Freddie Flintoff a little bit, but I certainly didn't even remember what Stokes did, to be honest, after that game. A bit of a blur, and sort of my head was looking at the ground most of the time. So no, definitely nothing to it. No.
Do you mind trying to get the mic back down the front? You guys,
Josh, when conditions have had such a big say on how the ball has behaved, as a bowling group, how challenging is it to not get desperate when it's just 20 or 25 minutes when the ball's going to do something, and not get too desperate when you look for the magic ball, and just the challenge of that?
Yeah, I think it's, you come across conditions like that all the time, in whether it be England or Australia or wherever. Sometimes I think a good experience is bowling with a new pink ball at night. You really feel like you have to cash in that 2-hour block. Or even if you've got it during the day, you think, I've got 15, 20 overs here of a new pink ball, I need to make the most of it. But I think it's, the more you're in those situations, the more you get used to them, the experience, and it always comes back to the same stuff usually. Hitting that length, hitting that line, and let it happen. So there's not much more you can do in, whether it's sunny or whether it's cloudy, but it's the same stuff.
Josh, James Anderson turns 41 at the end of this month. He's been called back into the squad for this game. What have you made of what he's achieved over his career so far? And do you still see him as a real threat?
Oh, absolutely. 41. I won't be out there at 41. I know that much. It's amazing. Longevity in the game is something that's huge. I don't think you realise it until you actually play for quite a while. That however many Test matches he's up to now, it's ridiculous. He's obviously here at his home ground as well. So we expect the same old Jimmy Anderson to come at us again, and the skill that he has is sort of unrivalled here in England. So it's an amazing career.